friends. This is Chris Jenkins, my co-host Josh Feemster here, and we're back with
Hi, friends.
I did it too.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, wasn't it?
I'm working on it. A couple more times and you'll have it down.
Hi, friends.
Well, you got to have a little more.
Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
Yeah,
That's pretty close.
That's close.
If you'll keep working with me, I think I'll get it.
We're back for another episode of Double Take the Podcast. And we've got a special guest with us today, and we're excited to be with our friend and Alabama native.
Hey, man.
Cole Watson.
Gadsden, Alabama native.
Hey, everybody.
He's fired up, too.
I'm ripping, roaring, ready to go.
Straight off the stage.
He just came from a Gaither homecoming sing-along concert and here at the National Quartet Convention. And so he's fired up. He's been singing all those great old convention songs. And I know y'all can't see this on the podcast, but he looks sharp, and he's got his hair fixed and makeup on and everything.
Absolutely, that's right. Mm-hmm. Shoes polished.
Shoes polished.
You did grow up in you went to Etowah?
So I went to Gaston City the first 3 years.
Really?
And then I transferred to Etowah my senior year.
For baseball purposes. Did y'all win anything that year?
No.
Didn't they win state a few years later?
A few years later, they did.
After they got rid of you?
And then, yeah, after they got rid of me. That was what did it for them.
I'm sure that's what it was.
That was it.
So you grew up in Gadsden.
I did.
Yeah.
I grew up in Gadsden. Yep.
A lot of people don't know, you didn't know this, was that Cole's grandparents were close with Tim and Barbara.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Riley, and they actually kept Danny.
They babysat Danny and Doug.
Danny.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Mimi used to tell us a story. Their bathroom, it's one of them old doors. I know y'all have seen them, but old handles, marble-looking handles, just old creaky doors.
Yeah.
Well, that was the door to the bathroom. Well, Mimi used to tell us a story that Danny apparently got stuck in there.
That's not a surprise.
And they couldn't get him out. He was banging on the door, freaking out and stuff. And yeah, they grew up together, or not together, but they babysat them, and then Mimi and Papaw and my Uncle Ken played piano, but they had a group, and Tim sang bass for them.
Really?
And
what
then
was the name of that group?
Now that I don't know.
Come on, man.
I know, I should. And then I think a guy by the name of Billy Ray Bulldog Williams, I believe.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Bulldog.
He was a part of that at some point, I believe. So, yeah.
They did a lot of singing there, regionally and around all in that area.
They did.
And then your dad grew up in that.
He did.
Mike
He
Watson.
did.
Yeah.
He did.
Great singer. They were really good singers, all of them.
They were really talented.
Yeah.
My wife asked me the other day, we were talking about, because my mother's side of the family, I love her and I love them, but they were more fishermen. They fished and hunted and all that kind of stuff. They no musical talent or singing, so it was all my dad's side of the family. So we were talking the other day, and I told her, I said, well, my uncle play piano, he can sing, but he sings classically. He was classically trained, but he went to Juilliard. Play piano.
Really?
He did.
Holy smokes.
According to what I heard, for some reason I've never fact-checked this with him myself, but I think he has played for Andrea Bocelli.
Holy smokes.
I think he has played for Celine Dion.
Well, I wish you would ask the guy.
I know. I need to fact-check it, and I think he's played with Barbara Streisand, I think.
Wow,
piano.
I was impressed with the
So,
seriously, that's incredible.
He's a really good piano player. And then, obviously, Mimi and Papaw saying my Mimi back in the day could flat sing. I mean, she could flat sing, and then obviously like you said, Dad grew up in it too. So that side of the family that's where I get all my music knowledge and all my singing. And
How old was because your mom and dad were a little older when they had you? How old were they when you were born?
Mom was mid-40s.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So Dad was a couple of years younger than her. So
okay, so they were
everybody.
Right
I grew up. Everybody
all of your brothers. And like your siblings are a lot older.
A lot older. They're all half. The youngest brother that I have would be, let's say I'm 29 now. He's probably 34, 35.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not that big of a difference.
Not that big a difference, but they're all half and they're all older. I grew up. Everybody said that Mom was my grandmother.
Yeah.
And it it wasn't a joke towards me. It's just. That's what she looked
well,
like.
Honestly, it's one of those things with me and Brandy because we had Joshua when we were young, and then Jack was a surprise, and we get him when I was 42, Brandy was 39.
Wow.
But now Brandy still looks young, so she doesn't get that. She says she feels it all the time,
right.
but it's a little bit of the same type thing.
Right.
And I kind of understand you were probably raised with a little bit more relaxed situation than your older siblings.
My siblings always said that I got it good.
Yeah.
They were like, Mom didn't used to react that way. I got backhanded or something like
Yeah.
that. I was unexpected, so I was the baby. I'm the youngest.
Right.
You know how everybody says.
How it goes. Well, I was a baby of the family too, and I get some of that. But
Yep.
there's something about having a difference of 17 years between them. You're just chilled out more.
Yeah.
You grow and you learn, so you don't you don't freak out over every little thing.
Exactly.
It's just honestly, it's a little more enjoyable. So
Yeah.
they probably had more fun out of you.
They probably did, and I'm not, I'm not one to brag or anything, but I was a good kid.
Yeah.
I never caused any problems. I knew early on.
Well, listen, don't forget I knew your dad, so you can't get away with all
Right,
that.
right. I forgot. But I didn't do anything to get in trouble much. I mean, if it was, it was just the typical, every kid back talks at some point or another. And,
You gotta learn.
And I learned quickly. But other than that, I just knew what to do for some reason. I never gave them any problems.
Had probably a lot to do with just them being chilled out more.
Right, right.
As they had much more experience.
Sure.
So for those listeners who have followed you down through the years, they would know your dad from a group named Exodus.
Right.
So when did he start singing with them, or did he start that group, or tell us how that came into existence?
So, I'm not.
Well, so all right, so this thing's a little bit. So what happened? Because I know a lot of this. So when I came off the road with Gary, with
but you're not
Mercy's
being
Mark,
interviewed,
I
Josh.
know, but I want to
Cole
talk
is.
about some of this because there's some interesting tie-ins. I don't know that he knows some of it. How old were you when I left Mercy's Mark? It was in the summer of 2007. How old would you have been?
Oh my goodness.
What year were you born?
I'm terrible at math. 1995. I'm 29 now, so somebody do the math.
So what is that? 12?
Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have been 12 years old. Y'all were coming and visiting to Bethlehem, my home church.
Yes. Now I
And-
do remember that.
Yeah, so when I came off the road, this Watson family was coming and
Yep.
visiting.
Yep.
And I didn't know them well, but they knew me because they just
Right.
sing me out. And
Right.
So my dad led the music there.
Yes.
And they had started coming up in the choir some. And and you were young. I mean, I didn't even hardly even remembered you. I just remember seeing
Right.
them, but you came with them.
We almost joined.
Yeah, I know. It was right there at it. And my dad was leading music. I had come back and was singing it. That choir was, it would kick tail.
Unreal.
Yeah, it would kick tail. Sand Mountain
Unreal.
Choir
Yeah.
with an older version of me
Oh, yeah.
leading.
It was something.
that would
I can
draw it out of
imagine.
them, and demanded that they,
Yeah.
that they at least sing with all they had. So I was very excited because they were coming and it added some more parts to the choir and some people that actually knew music. And then it wasn't long after that James O. Wallace,
Right.
pastor there, Gadsden area, that area, actually had retired and wasn't pastoring, and they had always done music for him. And he actually took a church.
He did.
And then they left.
Unexpected.
Yeah, very unexpected because it was they were right at the point of joining the church, and then so that ended up happening, and then about 6 months later my dad had a massive stroke and passed away, and it was just kind of and then I ended up taking over all the music at that church.
Oh, okay.
And then I really needed them back.
Right, yeah.
But that
Absolutely.
was Cole was just a kid
Yeah.
at that time, but it was there that
You first met them.
it's there when he first started with Susan. That was
Okay, so I didn't know that.
Okay, so that when they went down to that church, I think that's when he got to know Susan, and it wasn't long after that Norm Basin actually said, "Have you heard
Yeah.
about
Oh,
what
brother Norm.
Mike's doing?"
Right.
And I said no, and he said, "Well, he's got these two other ladies, and they got a little group. I think they're going to call it Exodus."
Okay.
That's how that all.
So
Did
I do
you know that story?
So I do know that the church that Brother James started pastoring used to be called Trinity, and that pastor was retiring. They sold the building.
They were gonna close it.
Yeah, they were going to close it, and he prayed about it, and obviously things worked out. Well, then Susan started going there along with her mother Doris Wonke, and if you've never heard her play piano,
Can
Josh
play.
knows
Good
she
grief,
she
she
can
can
flat
play.
out play.
Yeah.
I've heard
Still
of her. Yeah.
still play, and she started playing piano there, and my papa Ray started doing music like he had always done for Brother James, led music, and at that time they were still singing. Dad, Mimi, and Papa.
The Watson.
They were still
family.
singing the Watson,
Yeah.
just there. That's all. That's the only place they
Just there at the church.
Just there at the
Wow.
church. They were still singing. And if I remember correctly, there's a church on Nakalula Mountain, right before you go down the mountain. I wish I knew the name of it, but I don't remember. Anyway, they were doing a revival.
You're talking about the Church of God right there. It's right on the top, right past Jack's and all that on the left. By the Dollar General, right past
Yes.
it. Yeah.
So they were doing a revival or a homecoming or something or another, and they just somehow they got word that Susan could sing, and she could.
Yeah.
And then Susan knew Mary,
Yeah.
which is from your area.
From my area, that's
and she could
with
sing.
Brandy. Yeah.
Right. And then
Boy, she can sing.
and then Dad obviously sang at the church. Susan sang at the church, not together, but. And so they said, well, would y'all be willing to just form something or another and just come sing for us? They said, sure. Well, they got at Susan's house, and according to what Dad told me, apparently the harmony was just there.
Yeah.
Everything was just flowing and smoothly, and Mary apparently, or Susan made a comment and said, this is special, this is nice. And so they get there and they sing. Funny enough, they sing "There Rose a Lamb." That was it's still on YouTube.
Wow.
That was the song they sang, and everybody just raved over it. And so, like I said, Mary, Susan, and Dad, they were like, let's see if we can continue to do this at higher ground. Well, then that's when Mary joined, and they started Exodus. And the original 3 members was Mary, Dad, and Susan. And then, one thing led to another, and it just kept going and going and going. And Josh, you were around that and around them, and we actually, when you were with L5, we sang at some kind of 4th of July or some kind of thing you guys had in Albertville. We started
But
singing
your dad
there.
had passed away by then. Yeah, he wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
No,
Was he sick, or what did he?
That would have been in what? What year did he pass away?
He passed away in 17.
I think it was after that. I think it was right after that. Yeah,
so
you were
Dad
singing
had
with him.
gotten sick, and a lot of people don't know. Dad was starting to get sick around the time that the group started.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He had complained about an abscessed tooth, and it had kind of very slowly started then.
Wow.
And you could start hearing it in his voice, and he would come home and say, I can't hit it. I can't do all this stuff that I used to could do. And we just thought some other things.
Yeah,
but
age.
Right, maybe. And so then they said, I asked him to practice a song. So we practiced, and then one thing led to another, and that's kind of how when Dad started getting really, really bad, he came off, I joined and filled in that spot.
Yeah.
And that's how that happened.
You were doing some of that. You were already starting to sing some with them.
Yeah.
Before any of that.
Yeah. And I'd always wanted to sing, but I'm still socially awkward and shy, but I was very, very shy then.
Yeah.
It was bad.
So who were some of the groups that your mom and dad introduced you to growing up? Who were some of your favorites?
Gold City.
Good answer.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I tell
Well,
the
you couldn't
help it.
I couldn't
being
help
around
it,
that
no.
area. Yeah.
And I tell the guys all the time. I told somebody at the table the other day. They were, and I love the Kingsmen. I'm happy to sing with them, and the heritage and history is incredible with the Kingsmen, and that's nothing to take lightly. But I tell people all the time, I grew up, being from Gadsden. If you don't know who Gold City is, and if you're a Southern gospel fan, you haven't been paying attention too much.
Right.
So, and obviously it helped that Mimi and Papa sang with Tim, so
Sure.
We kind of knew them, and so I grew up listening to Gold City. We had the live albums. We had the VHS videos, and there's a picture somewhere of me standing in front of the TV in a red jacket because it's the Live in Dublin, I think, or was it Dublin, Ireland? They did. It was a 2-day thing or something or whatever.
Yes.
And there's Jay is wearing a red sport coat, and I just had to have one. So Mom and Dad bought me one, and the little toy microphones, the multicolored microphones, I had that. And there's a picture of me standing in front of the TV singing to Jay Perrick, I wanted to be a tenor singer. Just red face and all that stuff.
Thank God you grew out of it.
And so I learned early on Gold City was the standard in the Watson household. And then, add the cathedrals. We had a lot of VHS and cassette tapes of the cathedrals. The Perrys. Now, Dad Dad liked the Perrys of old. I started listening to the Perrys when
You're talking about of old when it was the siblings.
So
it was
the Perrys.
Two women with reindeers.
Yes,
it was.
He listened to them, and then
Deborah.
Nicole
Right.
when she joined.
Then Nicole, and that's actually when David Hill was there.
Right,
For a
right.
period of time. That was an incredible sound.
It was incredible. I started listening when Lauren Harris was there,
Yeah.
and then but it was the Lauren Harris and Joseph era.
Yeah.
And then Mimi and fun fact, Mimi and Papa and Dad actually sang a lot of Perry songs.
Well, yeah, 'cause
Damascus
it
Road,
worked out, yeah.
right? So that was kind of
She had that alto voice.
She did.
Like,
She did.
Like my mom. It was
She
that,
sure did.
That very defined alto
Right.
voice that could carry that part really,
Absolutely.
really well. So you had to do some of the Perry stuff.
Absolutely. It like you say, it fit.
Yeah.
So those were the groups, and then Perfect Heart. Dad was a
yeah.
huge Perfect Heart fan.
Two
Which, I mean-
podcasts in a row we get Perfect Heart, bro.
I know.
Havadank was on the
Yeah.
last episode,
Listen.
and he gets in the Perfect Heart a little bit too.
You know, and here lately, we've heard Perfect Heart mentioned a lot, but a lot of people don't talk about them anymore. And man,
It was kind of short-lived. as
It
far
was,
as
but
the
gosh,
Danny
their
years,
songs.
the Danny was, and then Gary Shepard came later.
Right.
But when that original group with
Mhm.
Danny and Dale and
Mark.
It was
yeah.
it was nice.
Yeah,
And then
they were great.
Fresnell was just incredible, and Jeff playing. It was a
Yep.
great group. They had great songs.
Yeah,
I,
they
I
did.
still say somebody touched the Lord.
Incredible.
Gold
Man.
City must have passed on.
Well, they ended up coming back and doing it on the Lord Do It
They
Again.
did.
We talked about that.
That's why I kind of have that theory, and we want to talk to Sandy Knight and see what the actual story is,
Yeah.
if she remembers. But around the time that Perfect Heart released their first album was, Windows of Home would have been coming out.
Okay.
Well, Windows of Home didn't have any Sandy Knight songs
wow.
on that record, which was crazy because that's where that was their pot of gold for
Right.
a long time. And it was odd for a Gold City album not to have one Sandy Knight song on there.
Sure.
So my theory is that maybe it was pitched to Gold City and they passed on it and it went to Perfect Heart.
It's hard to believe.
Could have been
But
the
it
case.
became it was a number one song for
Incredible
Perfect
song.
Heart.
And we actually, Brady, our bass singer, he held a birthday concert the other day in his hometown, and it was
His
us.
birthday?
It was his birthday, yeah. Yeah.
So he had his own birthday
he threw
party?
himself
He
a
did.
party.
He
I'll
threw
tell you
himself
what,
a
that's a
birthday
bass
party,
singer.
and it is. It is a bass singer. It
Yeah,
fits.
they're the only ones that would do it.
It fits. and it was us. I'm about to say Perfect Heart. Danny Funderburk, and then Scotty Emmett, and then United was there.
Okay.
But them guys, did y'all ever hear the Crossmen?
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of them guys were
Yeah,
the original
that was a
members
good
of that.
group.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
What I was getting at, we got to sing "Somebody Touch the Lord," Danny's, and I
With
tell
Danny,
you,
huh?
gosh, it was
Oh, wow.
something else,
Yeah.
man.
He's not as high as he used to be.
No.
I mean, that just happened.
The dynamic is still
But
there.
Still the same, and he still
Yeah.
pops that tone
Yep.
from time to time. And that
Mhm.
was Danny was golly. I text him and remind him from time to time he's the greatest quartet tenor that in
He's-
my book, just quartet tenor
Oh, yeah.
that could do the power. I mean, he could
Mhm.
smoke it, but Danny could just take and caress a song
Yep.
like nobody's
Oh, yeah.
business.
Yep.
We need to talk to him sometime.
We
That'd
do.
be a good thing to do. But and he's a wonderful person.
He
so
is.
that was cool that you
Yeah.
got
No, it
got
was
to do that. With
that,
him.
and somebody touched me and all that. That
Yeah.
was
Very
really
neat.
cool. Oh, a moment I won't forget. It was cool.
Yeah, for real.
So you're singing with the after your dad passes, you're singing with Exodus,
Mm-hmm.
and
You did that for about another year.
Yeah. After Dad passed, Dad passed, and I started singing with Troy Burns' family,
That's right. Yeah.
and I learned a lot from Troy and Tammy Burns.
Yeah.
And I will always be grateful for that year that I was with them. However, I was young, I was immature, and I wasn't mad at God, but I felt like that was just a way for me to escape reality a little bit.
Yeah.
So I went on the road. But then I got to thinking, well, I left Mom at home the whole year of first birthday,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, yada, yada, yada. So I came off the road back with them, and then I rejoined Exodus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was around.
So I sang
yeah.
with Exodus twice,
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah. The thing about that hurt when you're a boy, man, whatever, and your dad passes away, it's hard to explain what it does to you.
Mm-hmm.
And until you kind of get there with that, it's and it would, is your granddad's not living anymore, is he?
No.
So he was a major influence in your life. You get that.
Same
And
thing.
Absolutely.
Same
that
thing, yeah.
major male influence that's in your life, when it's gone, even regardless, we know they're in heaven,
Right.
but you're just almost lost.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's
And it
the
was that
cliche.
way.
There's a vacancy for sure.
Yeah, it was that way with me. And then we talked about Norm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Norm and I became very close after my dad passed away. And it was kind of a little bit of that when Norm passed away,
Yep.
because he had taken over that role of
Yep.
just mentor, type
Filled that
thing.
void.
And thank God for men like that.
Absolutely.
Because there's not, a lot of people grow up and a lot of boys grow up and never have a male influence that's a major positive force in their life.
No.
That's true.
For them to learn from.
Right.
And I knew Mike, and Mike was not just a great singer and he was a great father
Yeah.
to you. And
He taught me a lot about this stuff, about this
yeah.
music and this genre, and just music in general. And he was a sports guy, so that was something. And I'm one of those. I like to hold my emotions in. I don't like people to see me as weak, and filled with emotion. So
except unless you're in a voice lesson with me.
absolutely, then I start crying.
So
Well, I can identify with that. Before
What,
we
crying
move.
around me?
No. What you were talking about wanting to move on, that was your way of coping with your feelings,
Right.
because I remember after my grandfather passed away, talking about major influences in your life, I had started to I had thought about getting out of gospel music altogether.
Right.
I had wanted to just get a regular job. I'd been in banking before. I had tried, and for 3 or 4 months I had done interviews and talked to different people and was trying to kind of ease out of this into something else, and it just seemed like all the doors were closed. And that, miraculously one day, that's when Ray Dean called
Yeah.
and wanted me to come back to the Kingsmen.
How about that?
And he took over that male
Yeah.
influence in
Sure.
my life and I didn't realize, that would be the case, but he was really kind of took that role.
Sure.
Once I came back to the Kingsmen and kind of replaced that
Sure.
that
yeah.
male figure of that mentor
Absolutely.
type figure in my life. So I can relate to
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you went back to them, and then how long was it between them and then when you started filling in with Gold City?
So I went back with Exodus, and then I was done singing, so I just stopped.
Yeah.
And then I got I wanted a 9-to-5 job. I just wanted to be a normal
What everybody
person.
thinks, yeah.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And so I wanted to go to church every Sunday, and I wanted to be more involved, and so I did. And I had no intention of singing again, not one single time. And then I just get a text from Danny one day, and he said, "Hey, we're singing close to the area here in a little bit. We're currently looking for a lead. Would you mind filling in? If you can't, that's fine. If you can, come hang out with us, and it'll be fun." And I said, "Yes, sir, absolutely." And so I went, and it was fun, man. I was nervous. I was green.
Course,
I'm still green, but I'll tell you, that was intimidating because, I grew up a huge Gold City fan, and all them songs, and here I am singing them.
You knew all the songs
I knew all the songs, yeah. Here I am standing on stage. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway, it's a blast. So that was I filled in for 7 months.
Yeah.
And that is something that I still tell Danny, I am so grateful for that opportunity.
Well,
I
you
learned
had huge growth as a singer.
Yeah.
At the same, so when I guess you went and did that, then he messaged me pretty immediately.
Yeah. Pretty soon.
And said, "Hey, what do you think? You know Cole Watson?" I said, "Well, yeah, I know Cole." He said, "What do you think about his singing?" I said, "He's got a lot of capability." He said, "Well, what do you think needs to happen?" So then he and I got to talking about the history of his family and your family.
Yep.
And he really wanted you. And I told him, I said, "Danny, don't take him on the road for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Let's work. Let's work on this thing. Don't go on the road. And I told you the whole time. I said,
Yeah.
this is a disadvantage now. 'Cause
Right.
what happens, what people don't understand is your muscle memory. If you're trying to learn new techniques and you're doing the same thing you always did, it's almost impossible to ever take those new techniques until you start doing new things that you. So if you're as a singer, that's if you're playing golf, if you're playing baseball,
Yeah,
you know that.
sure.
Whatever you're doing all the time, unless you stop completely and redo it and retrain, you can't really
Right.
fix it. And out of necessity, you had to go out on the road with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost was your detriment.
Yep.
Because it started messing your voice up.
Yep.
There was a lot going
A lot
on
of
at that
hoarseness.
time that we would work on. I worked with you every week.
You did.
We would work on.
Yep.
And you'd have it. Then you would go out, and what happened is you'd get back in that. You didn't have. It was the same songs. You'd always pulled up chest
Yep.
on and
Yep.
done incorrectly.
Absolutely.
And it was an incredible time, but it's also a very frustrating time for you.
It was frustrating.
because you wanted it so much.
I did.
But there was no time.
Right.
So, and I told Danny, I said, you've got to. It's going to take time. You've got to give him. You need to get somebody else. He said, I don't have anybody else. There's nobody else who can do it. So it became
Yeah.
that thing. But it's interesting how it all works out, because your vocal type, he's high. He can sing
Oh,
really
yeah.
high. He
Absolutely.
actually could sing tenor.
Really?
If he wanted. Oh yeah, yeah. We do. We would when we work on vocals. He can carry all the way up as high or higher than me singing tenor. But it's that muscle memory thing.
I can't get there. I tell people all the time, I need Josh to get me there. And, obviously you can't.
Wow.
I can't have Josh on stage with me all the time. So,
It's more than that. It's not. The problem is I could be standing beside you on stage.
yeah.
The muscle memory still
Right.
takes over.
Yeah.
So
Right.
he can pull chest into A's and B's, but you can't do that every night.
Sure.
No.
That's what we run into.
Yeah.
If you pull chest into A's and B's every night, it's going to be a problem at some point.
Right.
And we're getting into vocal stuff here that we
Well,
don't
I was going
necessarily
to
have to
say,
get into.
while we're on that subject, and two, is any singer, this is good knowledge for any singer, but any singer coming from an atmosphere where they're only singing maybe once or twice a week,
Yeah.
they go to a full-time situation
Yeah.
where you're singing 3 or 4 or 5
Yep.
times a week, or a 10-day tour or whatever.
Right.
You don't have your voice doesn't have the stamina
No.
and it took, it was for me, for anybody that's
Everybody.
made that switch.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a time when you have to strengthen that muscle
Mm-hmm.
to where your voice has the stamina to withhold, 3 or 4 or 5 shows
Yeah.
or concerts.
And
100%.
your brain's also learning to how to adapt and how to get
Right.
more
Yep.
out of it, so you're not wearing yourself out.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that was a very frustrating time, a very neat time,
Yeah.
but a very frustrating time. And I won't forget when Danny said he was going to have to make a change with a couple of things there. I told him, I said, well, this one's not your problem. But the problem is you can't take him off the road now and spend 6 months getting him right like we talked about doing. But what's neat about it all is that you and I talked. You
Mhm.
went to convention that year.
Yep.
And you were like, what do I need to do? I said, you need to get off the road.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
You need to get off the
Yeah.
road for about 6 months and let's work on this thing,
Yep.
get it dialed in, and you can do what you want to do. But the Kingsmen hit you up.
Yeah.
So what's neat about it is that his voice actually fits more of what the Kingsmen do. You go back and look through. They've had some incredible lead singers. Arthur
yeah.
Rice, my
Yeah.
gosh, that played
Yep.
when Arthur played bass and sang. Arthur was a tenor back then. He was doing all tenor
Incredible.
stuff. So their style fit. And then going into when you were there with Bob,
Right.
and then Chris Bryant, that had that more ping in the voice that allows you to lock in on the techniques we were talking about.
Yeah, yeah. It was a trying time, but it was also, like you said, it was fun. That 7-month period, that is something that I can always say that I had the opportunity to sing with Gold City,
Yeah.
and I am forever grateful for that. I learned, I laughed. There was some hard times. I've always been a perfectionist, but when I started working with Josh, he kind of chiseled into my brain, don't be complacent. So strive for perfection. Strive
Right.
to be better every single time.
Yeah.
And so that's how I am. And still to this day, I mean, if I hit a bad note on stage, and I'll turn around and in my mind I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm hard on myself, but there's a reason. And that 7-month period, I got to live my dream that I never thought I would of singing with Gold City, and I got to learn. And so it was an incredible season for me. Everybody talks about seasons and
You know
stuff.
what else was neat? Danny had to pay for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. So that, and then like Josh said, then I got at EQC, and I was going to just come off the road.
You were going to do what I said.
I was going to come off the road. I was going to work with Josh still and get a full-time job. And then, Alan started talking to me, and then Brandon started talking. I had never said one word to Brandon Reese.
Yeah.
And other than that time when I was with Gold City and we were at that, I forgot what that was, and I had that bad sunburn. You were there.
Mm.
Yeah, and Brandon said something to me then. But other than that, Brandon just walked up to me at EQC and said, "Hey, you want to fill in for us?" Like, sure.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Huh? You
Never
said, well,
talked
I
to
do
him.
need a job.
Yeah. So then I did, and one thing led to another, and I prayed about it, and I told Alan, I said, "Alan, I'm not in a position right now," because Chris Bryant's high, great singer,
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
And I told Alan, I said, "I'm not Chris.
Yeah.
I can't hit them notes right now." I said, I know I have it in me, but right now I'm not there yet. I said I couldn't hit Gold City's notes, much less the Kingsmen, so I'm not there yet. And he said, well, we'll just see what happens. And it's like Josh said, for some reason, I texted Josh, I think, that my third time filling in, I texted Josh and I said, why am I not having that much of an issue? And it was a mixture between, one, I've never sung them songs before.
Mm-hmm.
New songs, new technique.
New songs, and I have new technique, and so in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, then now I know what to do and where to place it.
Right.
Yeah.
As Gold City, I've literally sung them songs since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I grew up singing them
Through
completely
puberty, which means you pull up chest all through
completely
everything, all you know
incorrectly.
to do.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I was at a disadvantage early, and that's not an excuse by no means. It's just it is what it is. So then I go to the Kingsmen, and it was just a little easier.
Yeah. The Hits and Heritage Fall Tour is now underway with Gold City, the Hoppers, and Joseph Habedank. We're coming to 8 states and 9 cities, including Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Indiana, Illinois, South Carolina, Ohio, and North Carolina. We're so excited. This tour is presented by Destiny Rescues. You are going to want to be there. Do not miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is the only time that we'll do this in 2025 is this fall tour. Go ahead and join us for the Hits and Heritage Fall Tour. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you there. I heard you the other night, or last time we worked together on you're doing Place Where the Hungry Are Fed, and that was a classic Arthur Rice song from back in the 80s, and where he goes up and holds that note forever, and you I assume y'all do it in the same key, but then there's one part y'all go back and do it, and then you raise it a half step.
So the way it is, we started
explain
out
that, because I want to point out how you go up and ping that note, because it's incredible.
So we start out lower than the original key.
Okay.
I think. I don't know keys. I just
You
sing.
give yourself room to
Because at
to
first
go
we
somewhere.
were starting to try it in the original key, and then Brady and I had an idea to kind of make it a little bit more kind of dynamic at times.
Sure.
Because I can't hold a note a minute and 10 seconds like Arthur Rice. But
not many people.
no.
I don't know why anyone would ever try.
No. So yeah, exactly.
Would you want to?
Yes, no.
Sound like a Jim Hamill idea to me.
Yep. So I brought Alan was against the song. He didn't want to do it. Alan didn't think I could do it. And I did, and Alan, if he was here, he would agree. And I told him, I said, okay, that's fine. That is okay. But I said, I promise you, I will prove you wrong. Just, that's all I'm going to say about it. We don't have to do it now. That's fine.
That competitive lead singer thing.
But at some point, I promise I'm going to prove you wrong. He said, I hope you do. I said, I will. So anyway, we started doing it, and then Brady and I had the idea, and Alan was like, oh, well, you proved me wrong. So, and I don't do it near
said, yeah,
justice
I
like
told you.
Arthur does. But, so we started out a half step lower than the original key, and if I'm any time that I feel bad, my voice is kind of dry or something, and I feel like I can't go up to the original key. So the second time, what you were referring to, we started out half step lower, and then the second time, Brady raised it to the original key. And I won't do it, but yeah. So that's how that works. We start out a half step lower, go to the original key on the second time.
And he pings it.
He does.
It's full. It's that big. He's got the form.
And it's actually easier for me to do the second time than the first.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
That's what people don't understand too. You get into release whenever you get past a certain note. You know that.
Oh yeah.
So I was struggling with it not too long ago. I texted you about it.
Yeah.
Sent you a video, and then I texted Arthur and I said, "Please help me. You sung this song. What's any advice you can give me?" So he started going through breathing. He started going through, "Are you singing too hard?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Send me a video." So I did. He said, "Yeah." He said, "That's a hard vowel to sing."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "A lot of people don't realize that." And it is. Place is a difficult vowel to hold that long and throw it up to the placement you're supposed to. He told me, he said an illustration. He said, imagine a ledge, and you're taking a ping pong ball and you're just kind of tapping it over into a bowl or a pocket. And he said, once you get that ball there, he said, just rest, just coast. He said, don't push anymore. Once you get that and lock it in and feel like that ball's in that pocket, just sit there. He said, start backing off a little bit. He said, let Brandon bump you up some.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that illustration just kind of clicked with me on that song and other songs. Yeah. And so I started working with it at home and just sound check and a couple of other different plays. And even at some singings every so often. And I would just go, okay, that pocket, and I would just try to work with it and go into it easier. And then once it was there, I just kind of back off a little bit.
Yeah.
And there are times that I feel like I can hold it longer than I do. There's no need to.
No, that's the thing.
And
it's
then,
always better to go ahead and
there's no need to hold it.
Letting it become a
I'm sure
problem.
at some point in time down the road, if I feel really good, I'll hold it, try to see how long I can hold it. But yeah, it's just I try to throw it up there and just let it rest.
It works for you.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
That's
so
awesome.
What people may not know, so how long you actually got baptized?
I did.
A couple of weeks ago.
I did, yep.
So when did you get saved?
Really?
So July 3rd, I got saved. I was. It started on the cruise this past year, and y'all know y'all are on the cruise. The cruise is a special time.
Yeah.
It's very close quarters. It's very open. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Not blunt, but transparent. It's a very transparent ship. Went that week, and so I would go in and listen to a couple of singers and a couple of groups and stuff, and listen to CT preach and all that, and I just, then it started, I was like, something's just off about me. I kind of swept it under the rug and just went along with my business, and then throughout the year it's been just getting worse. I'd be singing and not feeling a single thing. I was focusing too much on myself, trying to create this image in my head, make it come alive. And so instead of focusing on what the real truth is. And so then, again, swept it under the rug. And then we had a random Sunday off, I don't know, maybe a month before July, so June. And I went to church. And you hear people say all the time, he was preaching directly to me. Well, honestly, I felt like that was the case. So the whole time our pastor was preaching, I was just sitting there convicted. It's a big, heavy weight on me. And so it comes time for the invitation. And I let my pride get in the way. I was shy. Didn't want all these eyes on me. Didn't want people to be like, well, he's a gospel singer. Why is he going to the altar? Right. That's not good. I was so worried.
Most people probably think, well, he's a gospel singer. He really needs to go to the altar.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. That's the real truth right there.
Come on now.
Absolutely. So I sat there, and all of a sudden, it's just like a light switch flipped on. And it's like, honestly, I'm not trying to be, ridiculous, but it felt like my body just started moving, and I went straight to Pastor Travis, and I immediately started boohooing. Yeah. I said, something's wrong, bad wrong. I'm not right. I'm broken. I'm hurting. I'm scared. I need help. It started affecting my marriage. You know, there was no cause for. There was never a cause for divorce or anything. It was never. We just. It started affecting our marriage a little bit, and so. So he said, "Okay, well, we need to get it right." So we prayed, and then he said, "I want you to come visit me, the next time you can." So the next day I went. That was July 3rd. And so, it wasn't. Whenever the Sunday before July 3rd was, that's when I went and visited him. So I pulled in the parking lot. He wasn't there yet, and I was a split second away from leaving before he pulled up. I talked to myself. I talked me out of, and it wasn't me. It was the devil.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm leaving. This is stupid. You're fine. Just go on home, have your coffee, watch TV, do what you do, and just leave it alone. You're fine.
Wow.
You wouldn't be singing you would not be singing in the Kingsmen. You would not be singing with Gold City. All this stuff. If you wasn't fine, you are fine. There's way worse people out there than you. That's what was going on in my head in that parking lot. Pastor pulls up. So we walk in, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, it's almost like I couldn't breathe. He was talking to me. He started it out very nice, trying to relax me. Well, then we started getting into it, and he flat out just asked me. He said, "So what are you struggling with?" And I told him. And I said, "I'm living a hypocrite's life. I stand on stage every single night, throughout the weekend, And I said, I'm hypocritical. I'm standing on stage telling people about, who are lost, telling people about joy and hope and peace and the God that heals and forgives, and he died on the cross for us, and so that we could be free, and he's building us a mansion, all this stuff." And I said, I didn't believe it when I walked off stage. I didn't live that way. I didn't, I was playing church, and I told him, I said, I've been playing church for too long. Yeah. So I walked in broken, hurting, lost, and I left. I told Ronnie Balkin this the other day in the Gospel Greats interview. I said, I walked out, I saw the world differently. I saw myself differently. I was a completely different person. And it's like everybody says, old things are made new, and that's exactly what happened. I walked out. Everything was fine. A weight had been lifted off my shoulders. My life, I felt lighter. And then I told him, I said, if it's okay with you, I'd like to get baptized next time I can. And a couple of months went by, and I couldn't. We just, y'all know, gospel singers, we sing on Sunday. Schedule, right. So it wasn't a Sunday off. It was the night after Brady's birthday bash. And so it was a Sunday morning. I drove home from Brady. Brady doesn't live that far from Brooklyn and I. And so I drove home that night, and then I went to church that Sunday morning, got baptized. And, I got baptized when I was a kid. I got saved when I was a kid, so I thought. And I know baptism doesn't get you to heaven. I know that.
It's just symbolic.
It is symbolic. Yeah. And when I went down in that water and came back up, it was just refreshing. That's the best way I can describe it. Yeah. And so I got baptized, and man, I tell you, I'm not really I'm a very private worshiper, but I tell you something, I praise the Lord for it. It has opened my eyes. It has made me a better person. The Lord is so good, and he's been good to me. And Josh, you and I were talking about, my dad and your dad and Chris, your grandfather, and we can't get through those things without the Lord.
That's right.
We can try our best, but it cannot happen. Yep. So now looking back, he's been with me every step of the way through everything, whether I've wanted him to be or not. So it's special.
Especially people that are in Christian music genre and do what we do, people don't understand that we have to be fed as Christians.
Yeah.
We're always given. We're always ministering to people. We're given, but we have to receive as well.
Right.
And Gold City made it a point this year to be home more on Sundays. We try to take off more Sundays so that we can be in our home church with our families.
Sure.
And I hope that continues. I think it will. But I have really enjoyed being in my home church this year. We have a great church there where I live in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and it's just it's great, and it's a place where my wife can go when I'm not home.
Sure,
and,
yeah.
And hopefully your church is the same way.
Sure.
You know, I think it's somewhere where your spouse can be comfortable when you're on the road is very important.
Right.
And then a place where you can go when you're home, and so I think it's so important. But that's great. That's awesome. Man. I'm so happy for you.
And I appreciate that.
So how long have you been married?
A year.
A year. Yeah, this is
September 6th was a year.
Brooklyn.
Yep.
Henneke. Yeah, so the Henneke family. They're fans.
Oh yeah,
we've known them for years.
Yeah, they went to see everybody.
Yeah.
Gospel music.
And how'd you meet her? Just through that?
Yeah. So when I was with just started with the Kingsmen, and we actually sang at their church, their old church, and they were there, and we, after the concert was over, they brought us canes, Raising Canes, and anybody that knows canes, man, it's incredible.
Oh, it's great.
So that was one green flag, absolutely.
Except they don't have ranch dressing.
They don't.
I don't know of a chicken place that doesn't carry ranch dressing.
It's their house sauce. I guess they just, and it is, but I guess they just think.
Basically, a pretty girl brought you Raising Canes, and you said, "This is who I have to marry for the rest of my life."
Well, here's the deal. I ghosted her twice.
Wow.
After meeting her.
So you're kind of dumb.
Yeah. So.
Or either you just thought she was a crazy fan.
Well, no, she's gonna listen to this, Chris. So, don't get me in trouble. No, I ghosted her twice. I had been so used to being alone and single for a long time. I just, anyway. So I ghosted her twice. We leave that church.
You said that 3 or 4 times now. I think I'd move on from that.
Yeah.
She will be listening.
Yeah. So then they come to hear us again. And I'm like, okay. Well, then we get on the cruise. The first year, my year with the Kingsmen, first year cruise. And, there's 3,000 people on that boat. Okay. We're in the back of the boat. I'm watching the first time ever on a cruise ship, me. And so we were watching it leave, and I look down, and again, 3,000 people on this boat, and I see Brooklyn and her family. And so it was one of the moments I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I see her. I understand. My bad. and so started talking, throughout that cruise and hanging out and getting to know her family, great people. And then one thing led to another, and I prayed. I said, if this is right, let's make it known, and she did the same, and I proposed that year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was October, and I proposed, and then man, it's been, I tell Pete, she holds that against me ghosting her, but
you said it again.
I said it again.
Well,
yeah.
I did the same thing to my Jaquita, who's my wife.
No. She's your wife, buddy.
Yeah, she's my wife. But when we were dating, the first few times we started talking on the phone, she said, well, we ought to get together. We were planning a real date,
Yeah.
And it's hard, like you said, because of your schedule to kind of get together on because of what we do. So anyway, we were kind of planning, on going, getting a bite to eat, and anyway, I made the mistake of saying, well, I could really use some really good friends in my life right now. I threw her in the friend zone. And Chris. I don't think that's where she was wanting to head. And so
I can hear her now saying, I got plenty of friends. I don't need more friends.
And she does have lots of friends. So I can relate. So I threw mine in the friend zone, and you ghosted yours twice. I'll go ahead and say it twice.
Thanks for saying twice.
My wife also listens to this podcast, so I have nothing to say.
There you go. Listen, Brandy is very sweet.
You got that right.
She is, but she also terrifies me at some point.
Really?
Sometimes, yeah. I feel like she keeps you in check.
Well, she does keep me in check, but it's usually with her silence.
Oh, there you go.
She's that
okay.
type. That just, if things get really quiet, I'm going, okay, what did I do?
Yep, something's wrong.
What did I do? And I am really asking, okay, what did I do?
Yeah.
Because, I'm not silent.
Right. No. See, that's opposite of Brooklyn. Brooklyn's very vocal.
Yeah, well,
I'm the silent one. I'm the one that if something's wrong with me, you
just clam up.
I stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can see it, man. So now you're everything's going great. You moved from Alabama to Kentucky.
To Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah,
That's different.
It's a different world.
It is. I love it. It's beautiful. I always thought I'd stay in Alabama.
Yeah,
God
we
has,
all do.
Right. There you go. God has different plans, and that's fine.
Yeah.
When it came time for us to start looking for a place to live, my schedule, I told her, I said, I don't see it fair. Because we were looking at Tennessee, we were looking
Somewhere
at
in the
Georgia,
middle.
North Carolina, somewhere. And I said, I don't see it fair to move you away from your family.
Right.
I'm already gone all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't see it fair to move you from your family in case I'm on the road and something happens. You have nobody.
Yeah.
No friends. Now, obviously, you can always make friends, but, family. And and about that time, shortly after, her dad offered a really good deal.
Yeah.
Said we didn't have to take it, but if we wanted to, on their property, we could build and put a house there.
All
And
worked
so
out.
it worked out.
Yeah.
And my mother, my mother.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, she cannot
Bless her
stand
heart.
me
Yeah,
living
where her
in
baby's
Kentucky.
gone.
Absolutely.
Her baby, I get that. I understand.
She gets it, but she cannot stand it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, our schedule, I don't get to see her as much as I'd
Yeah.
like. But
Yeah.
Kentucky's beautiful.
It is.
It really is. Beautiful, beautiful.
You do a
area.
lot of FaceTiming, I'm sure,
Yeah,
with your mom.
I do. And I have a little niece that she's precious, so she always wants to FaceTime me. So
That's good.
anytime I'm FaceTiming her, it never fails. My mother grabs the phone and says, "Hey, FaceTime me now." So,
The Kingsmen are off and running, man. I think y'all got a great sound. Harold's back.
Thank
and
you, yeah.
He fits that role
man,
really
he,
well.
Oh, he does.
He does it well. Now it'll never be the same with old.
Well, that
Big
old
Indian not
Jenkins
being
over
there.
here, man, I tell you.
No, I'm proud of you guys, and
They're
you
doing
got a
great,
new
man.
single right now that you're featured on.
Yeah,
That's
Soul
climbing
Set
the
Free.
charts.
It is.
Yeah.
And
Surprisingly,
you're welcome
yeah.
for that, because that was a song that I held for the Kingsmen before I left the group.
Is
Looky
it
there.
really?
Yeah,
Well, thank
How
you.
about that?
it's a great song.
It
Soul
is a good
Set
song.
Free, written by Nathan Woodard.
Yep.
And I can't remember
Great writer.
who co-wrote it with
I,
him.
mean,
But
I know the demo was very good. I don't know who sang on the demo, but it was good.
it's great.
Yeah, it's a good
You
song.
did pretty good on it too, buddy.
Thank you.
It's-
Thank you. It's a little different, Kingsman.
Yeah.
It is
you know,
different. It's not
it
three
is.
clouds,
But I think
three chords in the cloud of
Three
dust.
chords and a cloud of
right.
dust. Yeah.
But they had, we'd kind of gotten away from
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
of that. In
More of the
years-
story album was a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's good, really good,
Yeah.
but not your typical, and I banjos and mandolins,
Right.
right, and
And very high endings.
yeah,
Yeah, screaming high endings.
yeah. There are some.
But you still have to go back and do the Kingsman stuff. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
what put them there.
Right, and I feel like, and the guys will agree. I feel like I bring a more modern,
You do.
a more modern sound and style to the Kingsmen
Yeah.
when it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's just like this. We're in the process of doing a new 70th album, and there's a song, or there's actually two songs that I'm featured on that it's a little bit more. It's different. Which the Kingsmen, this, Chris. The Kingsmen have branched out in the past.
Oh, yeah.
More to the story album, and then When God Ran, and and
Yeah.
so
At one
And it
time,
works.
DJs wouldn't play The Judgment and because they thought it was too contemporary.
wow.
Of course, that was in the late That was
Sure.
1988.
At one
89.
time, some DJs wouldn't play When It's Gone for Good because it was a little too contemporary.
That's
so.
true.
But
Really?
you know
There's
what?
always-
that ended up being number one anyway, just
There you
like
go.
The Judgment. So.
There's always
you go.
been songs, that people think's kind of out there, but in retrospect, it really wasn't.
Right.
No.
It was just new for that time, and it takes people sometimes time to get used to it. When God Ran was the same
Right,
thing.
yeah.
Of course, that was a Phillips, Craig and Dean
Sure,
song
sure.
that they covered. But anyway, I love the fact that you can mix the old with the new, and
Sure.
I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job. I'm very
Thank you.
proud of you. I'm
Thank
kind of
you.
kind of feel like a big brother sometimes. 'cause
You
I don't
are.
have a
I
little
tell
brother.
people all the time. I said, other than the Lord, and He's the main one, and He really is. Feimster has helped me. I'm serious.
Wow. Okay.
No, I'm serious. I owe God everything, and I really do. I couldn't be here
Absolutely.
where I am without Him. But Feimster has helped me tremendously, and I tell people all the time, I would not be standing here singing where I'm at, or being able to sing, whatever I can without Feimster's teaching. So, and that's something I will always.
Well, the thing about it is you took it and you did it. You soaked up everything that
Yep.
we did. The neat thing about me working with you is because I'm a lead singer too.
Right, that helped.
So there's things that So there's at times more believable than if a soprano or someone else was teaching you the same techniques. But Chris Cole would just take it and he'd do it. He would do it and he'd do it and do it, and I could push him as hard as needed to be pushed, and it worked. But it was that getting away from the songs that were keeping you doing the same things you always did to something new, and it clicks.
Yeah, and we started out doing songs that I was currently doing with Gold City. Then when I was with the Kingsmen, we started out doing a couple of songs, and then it got to the point to where Josh just said, enough with that. What's a song? And so we'd sing that song, and he said, so you can do it.
Yeah.
You just did it.
Right.
I'm a witness. So do it.
You just have to apply.
And he was that simple and that stern, but that's what I needed to hear. And he had to
Josh is stern.
Yeah, Josh
Shocking,
Stern. Yeah, absolutely.
Shocking.
He had to. There's a video somewhere, but he's had to get on to me a couple of times.
I think it's important that we remain open to any type of training.
Absolutely.
I'm the same way. I'm like you. I don't want to ever stop learning.
No.
And there's things that Josh has even taught me,
sure.
In the couple of years that we've worked together. And, I try to take a lot of things. I had some vocal training when I was in college, but they teach you classical operatic training. And then I worked with Brian when I was younger, and I've worked with different people, and everybody's got different things that they focus on, whether it's breathing or placement or whatever.
Right.
But I think there's things that we can learn from all the different schools of thought.
Sure.
And different schools of music.
Yes.
Different genres of music brings different vocal.
Yeah, absolutely. And Josh told me, he told me early. He said never be complacent. Yeah. So I still.
You're not now.
No,
I get a random text all the time. Why is this happening? What's going on here? Why can't I do this?
Yeah, it aggravates my wife. It aggravates Brandon, Alan. It aggravates them because I'll walk off stage and I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. No, why? I said, because that was awful on me.
Yeah, it's typically never that way.
Right.
It's that thought. It is. Because you're not living up to their own expectations that you create.
Yeah.
There are things that you will learn that I have to learn now because of the COVID. This. I've dealt with this since I got here. COVID really messed me up in spots. And so I have to learn that when it's all I got, it's all I got.
Yeah.
So you just got to do the best you can and have a good attitude and be positive, and you'll get there too.
That is one thing that Harold has tried to help me, or he hadn't even meant to, but he has helped me with, because Harold's done it long enough to where if he's not feeling it, or if he's just feeling terrible and not in a good mood, or vocally, whatever it may be, you don't know it.
Yeah.
He's done it long enough to where he can figure out a way to sing without having to push so hard, or he has another placement or whatever it may be, and that's helped me too. So, and Josh, you mentioned different genres of music. I'm a big Josh Groban fan and Michael Bublé, and I love all them singers, and I can take stuff from them and apply it to me. Now, obviously, I can't go on stage and sing like Josh Groban on Rise Up From My Grave, but I can take
that would be a different sound.
It would be a different sound.
Be a lot of vibrato.
Yeah, absolutely. Alan might be the guy for that.
Hey, now you're talking. All right, I think we just found enough to wrap this here podcast up right there. Man, Cole, thanks for being on.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all for having me. This is fun.